Welcome. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I like to appreciate and thank you all for participating in tonight's meeting, January 27, 2016, for the Brighton Town Board. I know some of you are here in person. There are others that are watching our meeting on TV or streaming it live on the internet. If you're here in person, as always, our agenda for tonight's meeting, as well as all the backup documents, are on the back table. If you are watching at home, those same documents are available on the town's website, www.townofbrighton.org. I would note in particular, we've got two items tonight where there are very large documents being submitted. And those documents, the draft environmental impact statement for the proposed Whole Foods Plaza, as well as the incentive zoning application for the proposed development of 1926 South Clinton Avenue, are separately posted on our webpage in the private development documents section because they are so long. So both of those documents can be found there tonight. Let's start with a pledge to the flag. Chris Warner, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. This date has been designated by the United Nations, and it does mark the anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz-Birkenau camps. So I'd like to ask for a moment of silence, please, in memory. Thank you. I would also note that later this spring we will also be recognizing Yom HaShoah, which is also a day of Holocaust remembrance. Let me just continue. We're going to be starting the open forum portion of the meeting in just a moment, but I do want to remind you, as always, if you hear the town hall emergency alarm system, please leave the room immediately, either by the door to my right. If you go out that door marked with the emergency exit sign, turn right, go down the stairs, out the rear door to Town Hall, and move away from Town Hall. Or you can leave through the two double doors in the back of the room, go through the lobby, out the main front door of Town Hall, down the steps, and away from the building. Now, during the open forum portion of the meeting tonight, members of the audience may address the board about any matter, whether or not it's on tonight's agenda. I will recognize you. Please just raise your hand. I would ask you, when you're recognized, to please come to the podium. If you would, please give your name and address. Please direct any comments to the board and not to other members of the audience. As always, please be courteous, and I appreciate the fact that you are. And if you have any written comments that you'd like to have included in the record of the meeting, please give them to the town clerk, and we'll make sure they are included. Now, if you are at home or somewhere else and would like to call in your comments, you can reach us at 303-3060. Someone will take your call and relay your question or comment up to me. That's 303-3060. And if you're deaf or hearing impaired, you can do the same thing. You can call in your comment or question during the open forum portion of the meeting on our TDD line at 784-5205. Again, our TDD line for comments during the open forum, 784-5205. And we do appreciate your participation, whether it's here in person or by telephone call. So we'll now begin the open forum portion of the meeting. Is there anyone here that would like to address the town board during the open forum. Mr. Zoglin, come on up.
Yeah, I'm Jason Zoglin, 311 Rhine Cliff Drive here in Brighton. I thought, since I have been frustrated and concerned at several times that I've spoken here in the past, I thought it's good to start with good news, right? So the house that kind of, the zombie property, as we say, that got me started on this little odyssey, and my neighbors, was one on our block, number 280 Rhine Cliff. I'm pleased to say, after over 4 years empty and in very, very degraded condition, work has commenced. They're working like crazy. There's 3 or 4 cars and trucks there every day. The pile of debris out front is getting bigger and bigger, and I haven't met them yet, but they're certainly working hard. So I think if they can get the house, I think he's an investor that plans to sell it, which is great, and if they can get it to a point where it can get on the market and be sold. We've had that happen in a neighborhood where a young couple moves in and then maybe makes it their own and takes the next step, and that's the goal of this, and I'm just so pleased I'm selfishly pleased because it's happening on my block. Yeah, right. And on the other hand, I have seen, I know Bill mentioned that the fire damaged house at 49 Danbury Circle North has been demoed. That's another positive thing. Is that right? The right address?
Yes, it has.
That is. I saw a dumpster outside 11 Danbury Circle North the other day, which is a good sign. I haven't seen any other progress there. And, you know, I have a list of several others. I don't know how if there's any progress on other ones. I know that 150 Rhine Cliff on the next block from where I live, still haven't seen anything. It's been empty for about 7 years. Not as difficult condition as the one near me, but now we're starting to see the paint is peeling off the garage and so on. Same frustration with the bank, not really proceeding with the foreclosure. My understanding was there was a short sale tentatively agreed on, and the bank didn't really come through, and the woman, I'm not sure about this neighborhood hearsay, I guess, was that she backed out because the bank was not expeditious. Too bad. So there's more work to be done. I did go to court on Monday to try to catch some closure on 280 Rhine Cliff, to just, because the town did cite the bank at 280 Rhine Cliff, which seemed to help get things moving. I went to see just for some closure, but I must have missed it. I went at 4 something, just to see that they keep it open. I have every confidence that this gentleman that's working on the house is going to keep going. I was mostly out of my own education to see what happened at the end. I must have missed it, and they told me I could call the court. And my assumption is they're going to tell him, make progress, and then things will go away.
And I can give you an update on that. I have heard, going back to one of the other properties, I've heard some conversation, but at this point it's secondhand about the Danbury property, so I'd rather not say anything right now. Sure. But yes, you have seen.
Dumpster's the first step.
Correct. 280 Rhine Cliff, I appreciate the role you played in keeping that front and center in people's minds. They are, my understanding is the purchasers are investors. I was working with them, with their attorney and with the bank's attorney. As you know, we were in court. We had a pretty tough conversation before going in to see Judge Falk, and then we had some, some important dialogue right at the very end of the year that ultimately led to the closing on that property. The investors purchased it on New Year's Eve. Yeah. We had, in court, we had, based on some representations that they expected the property to close before New Year's, we had set with the judge's agreement the court date of last Monday. And what we had said was, we want to give you time to close, and that will the late January date will give us an opportunity to see, what next steps. The buyers understandably were concerned about the open proceeding and whether they might buy a house and suddenly have large fines or other penalties levied against them. What we agreed to, and I think this was an appropriate matter, and frankly, it was important to do it in order to get the closure. We did recommend to the judge dismissal without prejudice to recommence the action. Obviously, one of the you've seen the remnants of the work, the interior work that they're doing, and if we get another good run of warmer weather, I know they would love to start painting the exterior as soon as possible. So what we advised them, and in my own communication to them that led to the closing, was exactly that. We would recommend that dismissal without prejudice, but if there are any new violations or if they fail to do the work that we had cited them for, when I say without prejudice, that means we have the right to recommence the action, and we'll, of course, continue to monitor that. You and I talked out in the hall, and I appreciate the email you sent to me, a draft of legislation that is before the county legislature. And I do see that we have, on another matter, a county legislator here in the audience tonight. But it is proposed legislation that would direct the county to set up a registry of vacant homes. Certainly the county clerk already is the repository of documents relating to, mortgage foreclosures and the like, such as lis pendens, other real estate documents. So I think if there's going to be a registry, doing it at the county level might make sense. You and I discussed how likely it is that distressed owners on their way out of a property are actually going to pay a filing fee and submit a vacancy plan. That's probably highly unlikely, but it also is directed at mortgage lenders. So we'll see how that proceeds at the county level. But in any event, again, thank you for coming in and speaking to us tonight.
Thank you as well. I think that was part of I did forward those along to you, and that was part of what I wanted to say is, I do think the registry is important. My concern about it at the county level is, like we discussed, I agree that the clerk is getting the data that would make it easier for one to make a list like that. My concern is that obviously the scope of the problem in Rochester is, considerably different, greater obviously than we have here. So will it ever really happen? And it might be, and like you said, the willingness of people to volunteer. It might even be something we could do on a local level, even if it's just, let the town people know that, geez, if you see a property like this in your neighborhood, could you let the town know, or let somebody know, and we can have our own list. It may not be as formal as a county list.
And that is something that we do
Keep an
now.
eye.
We always appreciate when residents bring, and frankly, whether it's a vacant home or whether it's something else that someone is concerned is or might be a code violation, we absolutely encourage folks to bring those to our attention. And under Tim Keefe's leadership, we do go out with our code enforcement staff, but getting, hearing about properties from people that are out in the neighborhood is a lot easier for us to identify. We do keep, as you said, informally, a list of properties that are known to us to be vacant or problem.
List right here. So.
And at our last meeting, we did set a public hearing, which could lead to the demolition. You talked about the one property that has now been demolished by the owner. Yep. We have set a public hearing for another property that we believe poses a danger, and if the owner does not demolish it, we may well have to. So.
Yeah, that seems good. It seems, it just, yeah, but if, you know, if you're working on a problem, it seems if we know where they are,
Knowledge is power.
the extent, yeah, and how do you approach a problem if you don't know the scope of it, the details of it? So that's why a list would help, but.
And I do think it's important to note, and I'm glad we've, you know, continued to have this conversation, because I think it's an important one over the last several months. Brighton's rate of foreclosures are not a Brighton problem. As you've mentioned, of course, the city has a tremendous problem. We are fortunate. We have, along with Pittsford, the lowest rates of foreclosure. But in any given property, any property that's vacant, and as you and I have discussed, and I've discussed here, not all vacant properties are foreclosures. The property you mentioned on your street, one of them is the product of of some other matters that have happened, and we can't control all of those, particularly, when a property owner continues to pay taxes and mortgage payments, or maybe there is no mortgage. But keeping it in front of our attention, we know that in any given neighborhood, even one property becomes a concern, and we will continue to address that.
Okay, that's good. I mean, because you're right, they're not all foreclosures. I was shocked or surprised when I went around and people started giving me feedback. Geez, there's one here or there in Brighton. I will say that there was more than. It's funny how sometimes you drive by 100 times, but if you're not next door, you're not looking and you don't notice it. That one on Winton, just south of Highland, I've driven that thing thousands of times and didn't realize the condition it was in. But if it's not in the foreclosure process, there's still, not in an onerous way, but there's still code enforcement that could, I would hope, prompt.
Yep.
The one on Meadow Drive is ridiculous. I mean, the guy nobody lives there, it's not a foreclosure, he's paying his taxes, hasn't lived there in years, and it's just falling apart. So there's other cases that we can use, I hope, our code enforcement. So the last thing I want to just say in this regard is that I don't know what made this 280 Rhinecliff happen, whether it was my neighbors and some degree myself, pestering. I do know, I feel I can say with confidence that your help, Chris's feedback, Louise gave me feedback and encouragement, and what you did, what you just spoke about in the court, citing the bank, which, geez, we wish we didn't have to come to that. I can't imagine that didn't move this along. Why are they working on that one and not another one? So what educators call it like a teachable moment. I'm thinking to myself, what did I learn from this process? How can we encapsulate this and go forward? I know I'm not saying this is your first rodeo. I know you guys have been through this before, but I had, So in that light, I wanted to ask just two quick questions. What is the new code enforcement position, if it has indeed been established in the new budget? What will that person's responsibilities, especially in relation to zombie or even seriously degraded properties? And will that person be involved in either the establishment or the implementation of this same kind of thing that we went through? Because you do this a few times, you get good at it. And I know, Bill, you said rightly so that everyone's a little different, but I found that there also are similarities. So that's what I was wondering. What is that person? Is that person? Is there going to be a person, and what is their responsibility?
Yeah, let me try to address that sort of holistically. We are in the process of, with Tim Keefe, our Commissioner of Public Works, and our HR Director, and under my direction, reviewing our code enforcement building inspection functions, trying to make sure that we do them as effectively and as efficiently as possible, and frankly, in part, taking advantage of our ability to add funding in the budget for more, because we have had, as you know, code enforcement, but also looking at how to do it as effectively as possible. And we've also had some other changes. We have hired a new building inspector. He is on board, and he's working hard, and one of the major things he is also doing right now is code enforcement. This time of year, there's less building inspection, and so the code enforcement needs, and he is doing that. He's someone with a background both in building inspection and code enforcement in another town here in Monroe County. And he's also a member of the town board in the town of Wheatland. So he has experience in working with the community. So I think he's a great fit for us, and he has been out for just about a month now, working for the town. But as we complete the review, we'll be able to make some decisions as to just exactly how and who to staff. But yeah, code enforcement is very much continues to be done, and will continue to be a priority.
Well, thank you for that. That's good information, and thanks again for interceding on the house on our block. I can't imagine that this was a coincidence. What you guys did made a difference, no question. And I think I always got to be careful for speaking for my neighbors, But I think I can say that that's appreciated by all of us, and I can tell you that there's real enthusiasm when the neighbors started seeing.
Believe me, there was enthusiasm here too.
The only other tip I have is, and I want to thank Chris he's been gives me a pat on the back once in a while, and that helps. But if you ever want to find Chris, Bill, and you can't locate him, I just recommend try Home Depot. I see him there all the time.
I will keep that in mind. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board during the open forum? Judy, don't you have an event you'd like to tell the community? Okay. About the upcoming Brighton Neighbors United potluck supper. We'll just a teaser for next time around. Is there anyone else then that would like to address the board during the open forum? Hearing none, we'll continue on with tonight's agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Can I have a motion to approve and file town board meeting minutes for the January 4th, 2016 town board organizational meeting and the regular town board meeting of January 13?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Committee reports. The Community Services Committee has not yet met as reorganized, but as we discussed last time, Councilmember Chris Warner will be the chair of that committee. Louise Novros will also serve on that committee. And we've reorganized. We had combined that committee with our Community Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. But with all the activities going on, whether it's our trail construction, our farmers market plans, our comprehensive plan, and discussions of community facility in light of the school district's plans to be dramatically renovating Brookside School, I felt that we ought to keep that community advisory board exactly that, a forum for residents from different areas with different expertise in parks and recreation. And that group met this past Monday night. Louise was there, and Louise, you want to?
Okay. As far as the community services is concerned, one of the first things we're going to do as part of the community services, again, is is have our clean sweep on May 16th, 14th? It's a Saturday, May 14th, I believe. I was, the reason I'm confused is because I also was scheduling the electronics and the shredding today, but it is going to be on May 14th, Saturday, May 14th. And we're going to do things a little bit differently. This time, we're going to combine Clean Sweep with Earth Day. We're going to hand out, we hope we'll be able to hand out seedlings or sproutlings for people to plant trees. And we're not quite sure, and we don't have it exactly where. Kids can take them home and plant them in their backyard if they want to watch them grow. But we're going to have the schools also telling the kids and teaching them how important trees are to the environment and to climate change and how it can help stop climate change. And so we're really excited, and it's going to be just to bring something different into it, because this is our 7th or 8th year, and we don't want people to be, not again, we'll have to clean up the mess, and it's going to be a mess again. But we'll still have people clean up things, but we also will give them trees. As far as the rec board goes, this is the last time, Chris, that I'm taking notes. You can be there next time?
Unfortunately, I had a conflict.
Okay. As Bill said, we did talk about separating the two committees again. And Dennis Conley is the new chair for the rec board, and he took over from John Steinbrenner. Becky, who is the program chair and commissioner of recreation, she wants everybody to know that when you sign up for courses or classes, or that you can do everything by registration online now, and it's made things a lot easier for them, and things go much quicker, and you don't have to wait to see if there's going to be a class or if you've gotten into the class. It's almost immediate. And this Sunday at Brookside, they're going to have something called Cabin Fever event to come out, and they're going to have 20 direct sales vendors there, as well as the Brighton, your wardrobe is going to have a sale, and you can bring food for the food cupboard. And what a direct sale vendor is people that have their own business, say Mary Kay, or one of these things that you do on your own from your home, but you go out and you sell things to people. So they have 20 different people doing that. And they also brought back dog training, which their dog trainer had left and they couldn't find a good one, but now they do. So if you're interested in having dog training.
But that's not on,
that's not Sunday.
Part of the
These are the ongoing courses, right? Good. The lodges are going to be closed from March 7th to March 11th, the town park, and Buckland Lodge will be closed from April 8th to April 12th to renovate a few things and to clean them up and so forth. So they'll each be at different times out of commission for a week. Jim, what they wanted to tell you that they are working on getting either a new spotlight or fixing the spotlight on the flag at the Veterans Memorial, because they've had some problems.
Okay, good.
They couldn't, they had to back order the thing because it was.
It came in, I guess.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
The student reps gave their report about everything positive that the Brighton High School is doing. I can't put that all down.
Including their upcoming play, the
right.
Brighton High School kids do such great drama. Once Upon a Mattress is going to be put on, not this weekend, but next.
5th and 6th, February 5th and 6th. They were very excited. The boys varsity beat Pittsford, and
Basketball.
In basketball, and the DECA club has qualified for the nationals. They're really doing great work. And then the preschool, for the school, the preschool is taking registrations now if people are interested in that. And the library has a ton of programs for the month of February, and you can get their their brochure online, or we have some here, and it's amazing how many different things they have. Almost finished. The comp plan is going to have an open house. They're here on the 11th, which is a Thursday, no, it's at
February.
Brighton High School, I'm sorry.
February, yeah.
And is it in the cafeteria?
Yes, it is. At cafeteria at the high school.
And at Brighton High School from 5 to 7. And they're concentrating on sustainability right now, and they'd like the community to come in and give their input on what they're doing, what you may think they should also do, and I guess they're going pretty well. Jason can talk about that. Let's see what else we have. Baseball is starting to take applications. Soccer is open for registration. And that's about it. It was a long meeting.
Thank you, Louise.
Okay. Our next meeting is going to be the 29th of February, 4:30 at Brookside.
And you mentioned John Steinbrenner. I want to thank John Steinbrenner. John served as chair of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board before I became supervisor. So he served for many years, and really appreciate all that he's done for the community, not just in that service, but in many other areas. So thank you, John. Chris, I'm sorry, force of habit. Our new Finance and Administrative Services Committee Chair, Jason DePonzio.
Bill, the Finance Administrative Services Committee met on January 19th, and each of the items that were discussed in committee are on tonight's agenda, with the exception of a meeting with Ray Wager's firm, who conducts the auditing of our year-end financial statements. During that portion of the discussion, there was also a discussion on the new GASB, Governmental Accounting Standards and
Board.
Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Statement 68 requirements for 2015 to recognize and report in the notes of the financial statements of the town's portion of the unfunded net pension obligations of the New York State and local employees retirement system. Mr. Wager also discussed upcoming GASB pronouncements relating to tax abatements, Statement 77 for 2016, and fully recognizing OPEB liability in 2018. OPEB is
Other post-employment benefits.
Benefits.
other post-employment benefits. So
Could be medical for retirees.
Retiree medical benefits.
it may
That's right.
sound like it's dry stuff, but they are interesting meetings. So the date and time of our next Finance and Administrative Services meeting will be on Tuesday, February 2nd. This coming Tuesday, we meet at 3:30 in the afternoon in the Stage Conference Room here at Town Hall, and the public is invited to attend.
Thanks, Jason. Public Safety, our new chair, Louise Novros. Louise.
I don't have a summary. Well, we didn't meet. That's why I don't have a summary. The next meeting will be on, I don't have that either. February 9th? February 9th, Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was thinking of changing the time, but I was talked out of it, so. that's
Thanks,
it.
Louise. Jim, Public Works.
Yeah,
Some
Public
things-
Works.
Some things, the continuity, and Jim,
Yeah.
you're continuing
Right.
as Public Works Chair.
And we have not met since the last town council meeting, but our next scheduled meeting will be next Tuesday, February 2nd at 9 a.m. in the lower level community meeting room.
Very good. Thank you very much. We'll move on to new business. Jason, reading and approval of the claims.
Yes, Bill, this evening I reviewed claims totaling the amount of $1,543,313.14. Notable claims were first to the Brighton Fire District in the amount of $800,000, which was the pass-through of taxes collected. We collect taxes for several of the other local governments, including the fire districts, and that's the pass-through. Another notable claim was in the amount of $249,106.39 to MVP, representing employee health insurance premiums and health insurance premiums for over 65 retirees. And also the amount of $262,342.50 to DeFiore Construction for the construction of the Brickyard Trail. And that, of course, is funded by grant funds that the town was able to obtain. The claims did appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second.
Thank you, Jason. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFanzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. The next matter is the draft environmental impact statement that the town has received from the Daniele family of companies for the proposed project known as Whole Foods Plaza. We do have representatives of the applicant here. Before we have a motion on the resolution, though, and it is just to receive and file it, again, I'm really pleased that there has been a lot of discussion in the community about this project. That's a great thing. But I think it's important, and I want to, again, share the message. This project is still fairly early in the review process. I know a lot of people have asked me, when is it starting? You've approved it, right? No. The town board, as it always does for major projects, conducts a full and open review process. One of the elements of that is mandated by state law. The State Environmental Quality Review Act is the environmental review, and the document that is being received tonight, the draft environmental impact statement, is the fundamental document underlying that environmental review. Town staff will be reviewing it. I know all of us up here elected will be reviewing it. The town attorney will be reviewing it. And our independent consultant, Stantec in particular, will be bringing their expertise to bear on reviewing this document. It is a very, very extensive document, and as I mentioned earlier, because it is so lengthy, it is available for review under the documents section of the town's webpage. We have a separate section of the webpage for documents related to a private development project. So I would encourage the community to take a look at that. But again, I just want to remind folks, this project is still very much under town review, and there will be additional opportunities for public input into this project. So, can I now have a motion to receive and file the draft environmental impact statement for the proposed project known as Whole Foods Plaza?
So moved.
Second?
And if I just make comment on this as well,
Sure.
Supervisor. So where we are in the process is we've just received this proposed, I'll call it, draft environmental impact statement. I've read very little of it so far. What I've seen has led me to believe that I wouldn't be surprised if it needs further revision before it can be ready for public review and comment. But that's the stage we're at right now. We're just receiving it and finally saying, yeah, we got this. And now we're going to send it out to our engineers. We're all going to take a look at it, and we're going to make a decision as to whether we can even say that it's ready for the public to review and comment on. So that's a process in and of itself before any public hearings are even set.
And you'll recall, we did have a public hearing to review the scope of the environmental review. And from that public hearing, and I appreciate the comments we received and the opportunity to review the developer's submission on that, that's the touchstone. That's the document that we will be evaluating this draft environmental impact statement. Has that DEIS, and you'll hear that term DEIS, draft environmental impact statement, has it adequately touched on the points raised in the scope, and therefore is it complete and sufficient for public review? And that's something that we will all have to consider following the review of the document. But I certainly want to thank the Danieles for submitting this document and look forward to its review. We do have a motion and a second. Any further comment? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll to receive and file.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFanzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. The next matter is a request from the DeMarco Group. They have submitted an incentive zoning application for proposed development of property located at 1925 South Clinton Avenue, to receive and file that and to forward it to the planning board. I will again disclose that because my wife works for an affiliated company of the DeMarco Group, I will be recusing myself from any consideration of this matter. So I will now ask you, Jim, to ask for a motion to receive and file that document, and I will yield the chair to you.
We'll call you back. All right. And having said that, then I entertain a motion.
Yes, so moved to receive and file the incentive zoning application from the DeMarco Group for the proposed development project located at 925 South Clinton Avenue and forward to the planning board for preparation of advisory report
Second?
In accordance with the resolution?
by the attorney to the town, yes.
Any discussion?
Similarly, this is just receiving and filing the
Yeah.
document. This begins the process. I see representatives of the DeMarco Group are here. It's an extensive project, and also they've just had a neighborhood meeting, I understand. Is that correct? It was on Monday evening. And unfortunately, again, I had a conflict late on Monday, so I wasn't able to attend. Any feedback from that, Louise?
Yes, I attended, and it was not a lot of people there, but it was a good, they had really good pictures of concept drawings of what it will look like, and answered all our questions that we had at the time.
And it's been presented, I think, twice before, both at Public Works and before
Yes,
the board as well.
yes, yes.
Having said that, I just want to echo what Councilman Werner just said. This is the very, very beginning of the incentive zoning process. So all you're voting on here is to say, yeah, this is worthy of looking at a little bit further. Let's send it to the planning board. Let's have them look at it. Let's have their comments and report back. We haven't even really taken much of a first step at all on this process. This project would also be subject to the State Environmental Quality Review, just like the Whole Foods project is being subjected to that, and that process needs to run its full course before this project can be decided on whether it would be accepted under the incentive zoning provisions of the town code. So again, just taking this particular proposal, reading it through, and saying whether you believe that it's something that the town board is willing to consider further, and then referring it over to the planning board. That's the only action you're taking tonight.
This is a parcel of property that the state had designated for development for the Empire State College, and we worked very hard to relocate them so it could be privately developed. So we're pleased to see a development proposal. Whether this is the appropriate one remains to be seen, but it's certainly worthy of consideration.
You notice the Empire State College building is now rising up on the property, the DDSO property, which the state had all along. Why it's almost like a silo approach to government there sometimes. They didn't realize when they came in to meet with us, they even had that property. And we suggested, why did you spend tax dollars, $850,000 to buy these 11.5 acres, when you already had the property around the corner that you didn't have to spend a dime of our tax dollars for? Well, they, and to their credit, they put it back on the auction block, sold it, and unfortunately the DeMarco Group bought it, and now we're going to see it come back on the tax rolls as it should have been all along. And it's kind of a win-win situation because the state now has it on previously owned state property, and we got the money back from the state. The state got their money back, but also we got a quality a developer that's hopefully going to come forward and have a nice project here for review by the planning board and our other boards. So
Get us
more
a
to
good
follow.
restaurant. And get us a good restaurant, right? Not that we don't have some already,
Already they're plea bargaining up here. Okay. So, having a motion and a second, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFoncio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Now can I have a motion to accept a donation, and thank you, Harvey Nussbaum, for a donation in the amount of $600 to the town for use in the 4th of July celebration.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Great.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye, and thank you from both submitters tonight for being here and being available to answer questions. I know we'll be hearing more from you as these projects proceed. Next item, Louise.
The next item is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the Sky Coasters to provide entertainment services at the 2016 4th of July celebration. I move on the motion on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Discussion? Sky Coasters are obviously a big part of every 4th of July here in Brighton, and we're glad to have them back out at Meridian Center Park this coming year. A motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Chris?
Bill, the next item is to seek approval to accept a donation of various artifacts from Ms. Diane Jacobs and Ms. Nancy Getz to be displayed at the Buckland House. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town before us.
Second.
And I certainly want to thank both Diane Jacobs and Nancy Getz for your donations. They will help us continue to make the Buckland House a real lasting and authentic record of the history of the town of Brighton. And as always, you know, Mary Jo has accepted these, but Mary Jo Lanfear, our town historian, what a resource, what a gem. And if anybody that has a question about Brighton's history, she's got the answers. What can I say? We have a motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Louise?
Next matter is for approval to amend the 2016 Police Department operating budget to provide sufficient appropriations toward the purchase of one investigator vehicle. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. And Louise, another one, please.
This is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with EV Warning Systems for provision of police vehicle setup services. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Mark, is there anything you want to?
This is a vendor that did our work at one time, and then a new vendor came in the bidding process, and this vendor won it back this time.
Competitive bidding works. Great. Any discussion, any questions? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Jason?
Yes, the next matter seeks approval, authorize a $500 budget transfer within the 2016 budget to support electronic monthly data services for in-the-field equipment used by the town building inspector. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
And here again, we're trying to make sure we equip our building inspector with the latest technology so that he can do that job, including the code enforcement work that he's doing, as efficiently as possible. So I'm pleased to see this here and certainly plan to support it. We have a motion, a second. Further comment? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Jim?
Next item is to approve to declare various highway department equipment as surplus and to be disposed of through the municipal auction process, and to use two Bobcat skid steer loaders, including as part of the Bobcat buyback program, to obtain two new 2016 models. I move in the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
And as we've talked about over the years in the budget process and when we actually take these actions, the Bobcat skid steer is one of a couple of programs that give us the opportunity to, on a regular and pretty short-term basis, trade in still, next to new equipment while it's still in good condition, before it incurs significant maintenance costs, before it incurs, in some cases, expenses for tires and the like, that really can chew up some significant costs. But the manufacturer has this trade-in program at what has been a very attractive price for us. We continue to get new equipment that has a good maintenance record and can provide the services we all need as a community. So thanks for keeping that program going, Tim. Any discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Louise?
The next matter is to do approval to declare as surplus and authorize disposal of via municipal auction of one 2001 Ford Suburban ambulance. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Discussion? This is part of Brighton Volunteer Ambulance's regular refreshing of their fleet. And they have acquired a new vehicle that is now on the road. Dan, is there any further comment by anyone? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Jason?
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Patrick Malgeri of Harris Beach, PLLC, to provide bond counsel services. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Pat has provided bond counsel services to the town for a number of years. He is a capable bond attorney, and his billing practices have always been good, and we've had very good success with our bond issuance and all legal matters. So we have a motion and a second on this. Further comment? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris?
Next item is to set February 24th as a public hearing date for the proposed tree removal at 105 Greenaway Road due to poor tree health. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town before us.
Second.
We've talked about this neighborhood and the trees in the neighborhood under our tree law. This is another silver maple tree we have been aware of and addressing the problems in that neighborhood with very, very mature silver maple trees that do become weak by the nature of the tree. We want to keep the neighborhood safe for pedestrians, for cars, and for property, while at the same time making sure that we don't, take out all of the tree canopy in what is just a beautiful tree-lined street. We will be replanting, as we always do when we have to take down one of these trees.
I see and this has gone before the tree council, and I see Secretary Rick DeStefano's letter here supporting this review.
Yeah, and the report on this tree was about as strong as they get. This is a tree that is a
rating I've seen.
Yep.
Very sizable tree.
It's a very sizable tree, and you hate to see them come down, but you just can't take the risk.
No, you can't.
So we'll be setting that public hearing again for February 24th. We can hear from people about it. So we have a motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris?
The next item is to approve appointment of a particular person, but Jackie Marchand, as a member of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board effective immediately through December 31, 2018. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town before us.
Second.
Jackie is a longtime resident of the town of Brighton, lives very close by Town Hall. has just a wonderful business, Woman Tours, where she and her business conduct bicycle tours for women across the country and across the world. And it's a business that's been very successful and grown, but obviously is an indication of her love of bicycling. And we appreciate, Jackie, your willingness to come forward and serve.
And in the interview with Jackie, I think we talked about the fact that we're reaching the point that we've got all the infrastructure being developed and almost completely in place, that it's time, I think, to really put the links together, and Jackie would be an excellent addition to the rec board to do that.
Yeah. Another fine example of the Brighton High School class of 1979.
Is that right?
It's just keep on coming, right, Ken?
Very good. Can I have a motion? We have a motion and a second. Dan, can I have a vote, please?
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Welcome aboard, Jackie. Thank you. I vote aye. Matters of the supervisor. A couple things I want to mention. First, tonight was the first night of the 2016 Citizens Police Academy. The Citizens Police Academy is a program that the Brighton Police Department has done for several years now, and had done for a number of years in the past, but we've resumed it in recent years under Chief Henderson's leadership. Residents and business owners in Brighton are eligible to sign up, but unfortunately, you've missed the sign up for this year's program, but I do expect we'll be doing it again in 2017, so look for the sign up. I do want to thank you, Mark, for your commitment to this program as part of your community policing initiative. As we've seen every year, people come through this academy with a heightened appreciation for all the work and all the expertise of the Brighton Police Department, but also for other components of the justice system, the law enforcement system. They will be hearing from experts in a number of areas, whether it's the district attorney's office, K-9, I believe, again, crime lab, judges, really all of the parts that help keep us safe from a law enforcement perspective. I also want to thank Sergeant Skip Rusda, who is the chief instructor for the program again this year. Did I miss anything, Mark? Anything?
I think you got it covered.
Good.
Be sure to try to make the next one not on a Wednesday night.
We'll look at that from a scheduling standpoint, but we're kind of here on Wednesday, so I was trying to correlate Wednesday. We'll do it on an off night next year.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you, and we're glad to have that going again. I also want to talk about, yesterday, I traveled to Albany to testify before a joint hearing of the State Assembly Ways and Means Committee and the State Senate Finance Committee concerning the governor's executive budget for 2016 on behalf of the New York State Association of Towns, which is an organization that represents all of the well over 900 towns that are in the state of New York. It turned out to be a very long day. It starts every year with the mayor of the city of New York, and the committees and other assembly members and senators questioned Mayor de Blasio. Turned out to be for about 5 hours about a number of matters. Of the mayors of Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, Yonkers, and Troy all testified, as well as not only the State Association of Towns, but also the State Association of Counties and the NICOM, the mayors, which represents all of the cities and villages in the state. I was there to testify and to advocate on behalf not only of the residents of the town of Brighton, but of all towns in New York, to encourage continued state aid for infrastructure in our towns, particularly highways, sewers and water systems, although we don't directly control water, but certainly through the Monroe County Water Authority. I did note in particular that it was important that parity be maintained, that upstate transportation aid be comparable to the aid that's granted to the MTA, the Metropolitan Transit Authority in New York City. And in particular, I noted that funding for highways in upstate is not just transportation, it's not just vehicular. As we more and more use a complete streets philosophy of highway work, we do work to make sure that we accommodate cyclists, to make sure we accommodate pedestrians, and to make sure that transit upstate as well as downstate is facilitated. So I wanted to make it clear to the senators and assembly members there, both from New York City and across the state, that that upstate funding is very important. I also advocated on behalf of the residents for some modifications to the tax cap. As you've been reading, the tax cap now that we have lived under for the last 5 years is now down to really nearly 0%. Last year we stayed under a tax cap of 0.7%. But one of the things that constrains us from is capital improvements. We've talked with residents here in Brighton who might want drainage improvements in a neighborhood. We've talked to residents of a neighborhood that want to consider going off septic systems and having a sewer extension serve their neighborhood. We've talked about acquiring the street lights that are currently owned by RG&E. RG&E does not tariff LED lights. LED lights are much more energy efficient, would reduce our carbon footprint, and would dramatically reduce energy costs to our neighbors, to our neighborhoods that have street lighting. But that comes at a cost, the cost of acquiring the system. And because the tax cap doesn't take into account the return on investment, and I made that analogy to the folks, when a business thinks about a capital investment, they look at the return on investment. They don't just look at what it's going to cost them in the first year, but what the savings are going to be in year 2 and in year 3 and so on and so on. Under the tax cap, and including capital expenditures for towns, cities, and villages, we're not able to do that same kind of analysis. Our analysis looks initially at, is this capital expenditure going to push us over the tax cap, and by doing so, impact the ability of our residents to receive refunds? We should have the opportunity, just as private businesses. One of the things you hear a lot, why doesn't government operate more like a business? This change to the tax cap would give us a better opportunity to operate like a business. School districts do that now. Certain capital expenditures are excluded. When school districts consider their tax cap, we're looking on behalf of the taxpayers of Brighton for that same kind of parity. So time will tell how that budget evolves, but I do appreciate it was a very, very long day, not only for us testifying, but also for the legislators that were there listening to all of those mayors and to all of us representatives of the organization. So my thanks to them for listening to us, and we will continue to advocate on behalf of the residents of Brighton. That's all I have tonight. Matters of the attorney, Ken?
I don't have any, thank you.
Matters of the clerk?
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. Matters of the town board?
I have one thing. I've been getting several calls from people wanting to know when the next shredding and electronics is. I can tell you for sure that the next shredding event will be on April the 16th from 9 to 12. I haven't gotten a call back from the electronics yet.
Okay. Well, we'll thanks, Louise, for that, and we'll look forward to that. I always enjoy getting out there and helping with that great program. As always, I appreciate the work that our video crews do. We had a new staffer tonight. Welcome, Ray, and thanks for bringing our meetings out to the public. Can I have a motion now to go into executive session to consider the employment and appointment of particular people?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Malik?
Aye. I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, and look forward to seeing you again at our next meeting, February 10th, 2016, right here in this room at 7 p.m. Louise, was there something you needed to say before? Okay. Then we will now be going into executive session, and the meeting will adjourn after that. Thanks for participating, and have a great evening.
Joe, did this get signed and passed off?
Oh, do this one.
Oh, there it is.